Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. We're going to finish out Exodus chapter 22, doing verses 28 through 31. Look at the text with me. You must not blaspheme God or curse a leader among your people. You're going to see a series of sort of rapid fire instructions. And the first one is do not blaspheme God. Blasphemy reaches its zenith in the biblical account when the Pharisees have just borne patent witness to Jesus, undeniably proving that he's the Messiah, and they have accused him of doing so by the power of evil. To blasphemunton in the Greek, and that's a different word in Hebrew, to resist, revile the Holy Spirit, to, in essence, like kind of put the middle finger up toward God, and to call him evil in this sense. This is blasphemy, and this command, you must not blaspheme God or curse a leader among your people. All right, rather, what's expected is that you'd leave that up to God. Okay? For one thing, it's possible that your accusation is false. All right, that your curse that you're trying to leverage at this leader in the Israelite community, you could not have all the context that you need. That happens sometimes. And it also could be that you're right, but you leave it up to God. God has prescribed this whole process, and he's told his people multiple times that he hears the cry of the people who are oppressed, who are hurt. And then God himself in this legal system intervenes on their behalf. So do not blaspheme God, and do not curse a leader among your people. You must not hold back offerings from your harvest or your vats. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Do the same with your cattle and your flock. Let them stay with their mothers for 7 days, but on the 8th day you are to give them to me. So this speaks to what's in the heart, both within the vat, that which has already been stored up, and that which is harvested, that which is brand new. Give this to God. The firstborn of the flock, the cattle, was sacrificed to God. Not so with the sons. Okay? We've at this point, hopefully you read Genesis 22. If not, go read that now. God never demands human sacrifice. But if the firstborn of the cattle were unfit for sacrifice, then oftentimes they were sold instead, and then an offering was given. Let them stay with their mothers for 7 days, but on the 8th day you are to give them to me. Okay, and this is in reference to the cattle of the flock. On the 8th day, a baby boy would be circumcised. On the 8th day, this firstborn of the flock would be given to God. Verse 31 sort of encompasses all of these sort of final commands in this chapter are sort of summed up right here. Be my holy people. You must not eat the meat of a mauled animal found in the field. Throw it to the dogs. Fascinating, because this is one of those commands that also comes with an hygienic purpose to it. Some of the Old Testament laws probably seemed quite obscure to the people of God at the time. But long after we have the whole scientific field of microbiology, for example, we understand why. If a dead animal has been laying out there in the field for a long time, dogs may have microbiomes within their digestive tracts that can accommodate that kind of stuff. And dogs naturally can act as scavengers sometimes. And so for that reason, it's not going to affect the dogs. But you don't want to die from some bacterial infection that you get from eating an animal that's mauled in the field. And this comes right on the heels of be my holy people. It's not just for the hygienic reason. It's no, don't eat that stuff. Be my holy people. Okay, trusting God. God is giving this command to people whom he's been feeding miraculously with quail from heaven, with manna from heaven, with water miraculously provided in the desert. I'm going to take care of you. Don't eat that gross stuff. There's also an hygienic reason why you shouldn't eat that anyway. But this sums it all up, from a command against blasphemy. Don't curse your leaders. Don't hold back offerings from God, from your harvest or your vats. Give me the firstborn of your sons. The same with your cattle. Be my holy people. It's a call unto holiness. And that's why I think of this as I don't want to use the word catch-all because I don't want that to sound diminutive, because it's actually an incredibly high calling. What I mean is that it's all encompassing. These actions, like, of course I'm not going to blaspheme God. I'm not going to curse my leader. Of course I'm not going to hold back offerings from God, because I've been called to be holy. His holy people are set apart. And these commands made the people of God quite distinctive. Their adherence to the apodictic laws made them distinctive. Their adherence to the ceremonial laws made them distinctive. Their adherence to the laws of God made them stand out among every other nation in the world. By the way, they're the only people who have never suffered a massive plague. And sometimes because of commands like this one right here in verse 31. They wouldn't go around eating, roadkill. And so they're spared. They're spared these diseases and these plagues, oftentimes by just the pragmatic value of holding to these commands. But they didn't hold to the commands because of their pragmatic value. They held to the commands because of this. They're called to be his holy people. Now, while we are no longer required to give the firstborn of our cattle to God, we can certainly see how this call into holiness is absolutely transcovenantal, because it's even reiterated in Jesus and his teaching, his ministry. We're called to be holy because he is holy. Seek holiness. You don't have to adhere to the ceremonial laws of Old Testament Israel. Each of these laws was a foreshadowing of the coming sacrifice of Christ anyway. In fact, you ought not try to adhere to laws and add on to your own righteousness, because you can't add on to your own righteousness, and two, because that would be to presuppose that Christ hadn't come. But the call into holiness transcends the boundary from the old covenant to the new covenant. It's not as though because Jesus came, we don't have to be holy anymore. Be holy, and what you'll find is that this has just the same, if in some ways more so, a distinctive of God's people. Because we are his New Testament people and we're also called to holiness, we're going to be weird to other people around us. We're going to abstain from things that other people partake in, and we're going to do things that other people don't do. And it's in the name of holiness. So let holiness overcome your desire for conformity. Listen to the Holy Spirit's convictions in the New Testament era here, as the Holy Spirit lays things on your heart to abstain from, you do that. But seek holiness over conformity. It was true of God's people in the old covenant, and it's true of his people, you and me, today.